Welcome to the Hope and Optimism podcast series, where we highlight the people and ideas empowering international students to thrive. I'm Kwan Siegel, founder of ICAway, career coach for international students.
I'm Betsy Cohen. I'm the past executive director of the St. Louis Mosaic Project and the author of the book, Welcome to the USA, You're Hired, a guide for foreign-born people seeking jobs. And currently, I am a philanthropic futurist with the consulting firm called Future Good.
Hello, my name is Danya and I am third year PhD student in education psychology program at University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I'm originally from Pakistan, which means I'm an international student here. And on campus, I'm also actively part of UNL Fulbright Association.
Wonderful. And today, everyone, we will be responding to a rapidly shifting landscape for international students amid F1 visa uncertainties, rising anxieties around belonging, and growing challenges around student retention. We are exploring how institutions can rise to meet the moment with care, strategy, and community. Bessie, who do we have with us today to help us unpack this important topic?
Thank you, Kwan. Our guest today is Dr. Ling Gao LeBeau, and Dr. LeBeau is the Director of International Student Success at Syracuse University. She is a scholar practitioner whose work bridges academic advising, international education, and cultural support. It was impressive to me as I looked at her background to see the range of institutions where she's been a part, as well as all of her leadership in international organizations. Her team has had a very successful program called the International Student Success Model, which earned the 2024 Senator Paul Simon Spotlight Award from NAFSA for its impact on student retention and well-being. And obviously NAFSA is the associate of international educators, which is so important for this whole community. Dr. LeBeau, welcome. Can you share with us how your journey and your lived experience both inform your commitment to international student success?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Betsy, and thank you so much for the team. It is a privilege to be here, honored to be here to share and learn from each other. So my name is Ling Gao LeBeau. You can call me Ling or you can call me Dr. LeBeau. I'm the Director of International Student Success at Syracuse University. I'm a scholar practitioner in the field of international higher education and academic advising with years of experiences in teaching, advising, research, and administration. I've served various professional roles at 5 universities. My work experiences range from teaching undergraduate and graduate students, advising international students and scholars, directing study abroad programs, developing international partnerships, to leading and implementing campus internationalization. I have served and currently serve on multiple leadership committees of AIEA, NAFSA, and NACADA. So NACADA is National Association of Academic Advising. I frequently present and publish issues of international higher education and academic advising. I had the opportunity to be the founder of International Student Academic Success Community for NACADA. My work has been featured on the Chronicle of Higher Education. My research interests include international student success, global learning, curriculum internationalization, international partnerships, assessment, student and faculty mobility. I earned my PhD in higher education and master's in language education from Indiana University, Bloomington. It is really a privilege to be here sharing and learning with everyone.
I know you moved from Indiana to Syracuse, so you've had a little bit more cold weather being in Syracuse. I also am very impressed because the work through NAFSA, looking at the reach that NAFSA has as well, with 4,300 institutions in 170 countries. So that means that the work you've done with NACADA and NAFSA has really had global impact because there is so much opportunity for communicating these programs and successes around the world, which I think is really terrific. We are so glad to have you with us today, Dr. LeBeau. When I looked at information about the program that you and your team created at Syracuse, it was really impressive. And one of the facts that definitely made an impact on me was to see that the work you have done has resulted in a retention of your international students of 91% or more, which is really outstanding. And I know that's one of the results of all the work that you have done. I'd like to talk more about your international student success model that is changing the game for this student retention and belonging. Tell us a little bit about the big picture look at your approach. What are the core elements of the international student success model? I know there are 5 pillars. Maybe you can talk about that, what they are, how they work together, and how do they prepare those international students, starting even before they arrive with pre-onboarding.
Great. Yes, thank you, Betsy. Yes, we did have a very good year. So that's the record high international student retention rate. However, we know there are things up and down. And then that we also have a lower retention rate, but we're getting back again. And then, so first of all, so this model presents a vision for student success by changing the narrative of international student support services and most importantly, bridging the gap between academic advising and international education. So traditionally, many higher education institutions advocate for more support for international students. However, many institutions still employ the traditional approach to those activities. For example, like visa services, English language improvement, and social support. So I had a chance to be, my position actually is within the Office of Student Success or slash Office of Academic Career Advising. I had opportunity to open my eyes to see other perspectives. To build a sustainable model of enrolling and retaining international students, universities and advising must proactively invest time and effort to define and deliver outcomes related to academic and career success of international students. How we started at Syracuse University. Back in 2019, Syracuse University, especially College of Arts and Science and Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs, at that time we had the highest number of international undergraduate students enrolled. So there were some challenges appearing among our academic career advisors and also students' performance. The College of Arts and Science Maxwell School were really forward thinking. They identified international students as a critical population for improving student retention and graduation numbers. And then they also conducted a review of the population and its needs. The review reviewed extensive research detailing international students' challenges in succeeding. I was hired in early 2020 after this review was conducted. And I was fortunate to be the first director of international student success leading this initiative. Since early 2020, so we have focused on developing, implementing strategies targeting the international undergraduate students group, including direct academic support and intentional programming. For this approach, there is a concept map. Actually, if any audience is interested, if you Google, you can find it. And also it's on our website. We start with answering the question of why we need this. Why? Here's the response to why. This model collaboratively guides and empowers our students with inclusive environment to realize their potential and discover their purpose as they successfully transition into university life. That's why. And how do we do it? So this model adopts a proactive, holistic approach to bridge the gap between academic advising and international education. So that this effort connects the two professional fields and serves international students collaboratively and comprehensively. This is how we do it. Now, what do we do? So, guided by why and how, so there are 5 areas of initiatives we developed and implemented to address that. 5 pillars. The first pillar is pre-arrival academic coaching, and second one is peer mentoring, And then third, advisor training. The fourth, academic intervention. Number five, it's communication. Betsy, would you like me to explain each pillar?
Yes.
We do.
Yes, I think that would be good. And particularly when you start with the pre-arrival academic onboarding, how does this reduce the fear and uncertainty before the students even set foot on campus? And even secondly, what do you think this means to the families as they are getting ready to invest and send their students so far away?
Absolutely. Like for the first pillar, pre-arrival boarding support. So this is so important because lots of universities, I know that many universities actually they do something in summer, communicate with the international students, especially about the visa application, cultural integration. Yes. However, very little focus on academic career. So based on my experience, it is really very late if we start to talk about academic and a career once students are on campus. Because once they're on campus, they need to get going. But for international students who especially first time to come to the US, it is very challenging for them to meet the same requirements as the domestic students. So therefore, to help our new students make a smooth academic transition, we develop and provide comprehensive onboarding academic coaching program from early May to mid-August every year for our new students. So the onboarding coaching has basically three parts. The first part is so I developed a Blackboard program. Basically, it's a non-credit course with three learning outcomes and takes students approximately only 10 hours to complete at their own pace. The three learning outcomes: understanding academic expectations for college students at Syracuse University. For example, how can I get a degree? How many credits do I need to have? What's the GPA requirement? Those basic and more advanced. And then the second outcome, identify essential personnel and resources for academic success. For example, who is an advisor? Advisor is a foreign concept for many students from other countries. But what's the role of advisor for them? Number three, finding the path to graduation and a career. So help them think about, okay, how can you successfully graduate and what's next? We're not talking about giving them, they need to know everything ins and out, but at least they have ideas about this path, about the expectation. So that's the first one. We have this Blackboard non-credit course. And the second part is weekly academic training. So to help them make the smooth transition, in addition to the Blackboard course, I also have a weekly Zoom meeting, start from mid-May to mid-August, a 3 month. And then the weekly meeting demonstrates students how to utilize our online learning platforms, how to understand our academic programs and resources. For example, lots of students, when they were admitted, are undecided. And how can you choose a major? Why you need to choose a major, minor, or double major? And then also become familiar with academic policies and expectations. For example, what is called academic probation? What is called Dean's List? And then speakers, I'm not only speaker for that type of training, I'm the facilitator. And then I invite professors, academic career advisors, and student leaders basically to communicate with students every week. And then also students can find this series of topics in the Blackboard. Basically, the communication start in mid-May, very clear. So map out, let students know what they are expected for the summer. Number three is peer mentoring. Every single new international student coming to Syracuse University Arts and Science Maxwell School will have upper class student as a peer mentor. Peer mentors start to get in touch with them in early May. This mentorship lasts until December, basic entire first semester. So those three things every new international student will have before even they come to campus. So that's we call pre-arrival academic onboarding services. So that's our number one pillar.
I wanted to just have a chance to have Dania just give her thoughts a bit about what this would mean to an international student. I mean, you came from Pakistan, obviously at a later part in your education, but what does it make you think that an international student would feel if they had that kind of pre-onboarding experience, Tanya?
Betsy, I was just listening to Ling and I was enjoying just imagining that what kind of emotional and logistic support it is this kind of environment is giving to international students. I really like this model because in this way, international students could get themselves aware of all the expectations and all the things that, oh, these are some things that are required for me to be prepared of, and then this is how I can excel well in school. So I guess this model is really fascinating for me as international student.
Thank you. Dr. LeBeau, have us understand a bit more about the other pillars with advisor training and academic interventions. What might that mean?
Sure. The second pillar is peer mentoring, and the peer mentoring help our new students feel connected and supported even before they come to university. So our peer mentoring program is very different. So it's highly structured and with academic and career focus. Also, the peer mentor program, we have a syllabus actually. Basically, it's like a non-credit course as well. So the purpose of the program, of course, is to assist our students to make a successful academic adjustment to university and increase their engagement, academic achievement. And then there are three strategies.
Can I ask you something related to this peer mentoring? Is that, instance, yes, you know that somebody is coming from, let's say, China, or somebody is coming from any country from Africa or Europe. How do you select those peers for them, and how do you make sure that those peers are the right fit for the new international students, upcoming new international students?
Very good question. Yes. And actually, last weekend, we just did the new peer mentor training. So for 2 days training. Yes. Okay. So first of all, peer mentors, they can be domestic or international, will come from any major, any academic background. But of course, undergraduate students only because they understand the curriculum. And then we post the job description. And then if anybody's interested, you can go to our website to find out the responsibility as and selection criteria of mentors. And we are very fortunate. Every year we have lots and lots of applications, and then we select the mentors who are personable, approachable, and good with the peers. And then once we have the mentors, and then we categorize all the experience, for example, their country of origin, languages they speak, and then their campus engagement, academic interest, and then we match them with our new students. And then we have surveys for mentors and new students, ask them what type of mentor you would like to have, or what type of mentees you would like to work with. Then we match them. So usually students prefer the mentor from the same country, that speak the same native language or same academic interest. So that's how we match them. And then usually one mentor works with about 5 new students. As I mentioned earlier, we have a syllabus, and the syllabus has weekly activities. Actually, those mentors, their group in the summer before they come to campus, have some informal communication. The new students ask the mentor any question they may have about course registration, about housing, life. Once they're here, the mentor will have an in-person meeting with their small group. And also, they are going to take their small group to at least 2 social outings on campus and off campus. Does this answer your question?
Oh, yes. I was just imagining that how powerful this connection is for the new upcoming student who don't know anybody here, and then they get to know somebody who is already familiar with the system and everything. I guess it's a great thing. Just a follow-up question. Do you consider graduate students in these mentoring opportunities, or these are just for undergrads? Because I know on campus facilities, is a lot going on for undergrad students, but not very much for grad students. So how your university is working on this?
You are absolutely right. I know. Actually, graduate students need this too. And honestly, I have talked to some colleagues who work with graduate students. I say, you graduate students, especially master students, their time is short, only 1.5 or 2. You have to work with them before they come here, understand the career perspectives. Otherwise, it's too late for them to find a job, internship like that. And for now, unfortunately, we only offer this to undergraduate students.
It's still a wonderful model. And I think other advisors and groups and other universities could learn from it, because I know even in St. Louis, the mentoring that's done is not as structured as this and not as broad. So I think that's some good learning. Let's move on to talk about the next pillar with the advisor training, about how are you equipping those advisors to understand the cultural context, student experiences, and what they can do better. Tell us about that, please.
Yes, absolutely. This is just one way to success. You cannot just say, okay, students need to do they need to do that. Also, we need to help advisors understand the international students, their characteristics, their factors, why they're here, what do they want to achieve. Absolutely. It's a mutual understanding and respect. And then to facilitate our advisor understanding of international students, their learning characteristics, I developed some advising instruments and also provide a series of training and workshops to advisors. Instruments, for example, just like international student CPT, OPT, what is that? I mean, of course, everything is on the website and there are lots of text, but our advisors are so busy. We don't expect everybody to know ins and out of OPT, CPT that way. So therefore, I developed a flow chart. So the very easy to follow flow chart to help our advisors say, okay, if a student has this need, let's say if you meet this requirement, if yes, then go next. So basically things like that. I developed those instruments. And then also, for example, another instrument developed is the how to advise students, first year students, and then to register for certain classes based on their English proficiency level. Because some students can be very high, some students can be medium, and therefore there are certain courses you have to avoid, do not recommend your student to take, like philosophy. If you recommend a philosophy to a first year non-native speakers, that might be challenging. Now, those are instruments and the topics and the workshop. So I have provided, for example, advising strategies. I have something like 10 recommendations for advisor to work with international students. And then international student academic persona. Why lots of international students study certain majors? Why is that? What do they want to do after this undergraduate degree? And also, I show them the foreign country education system. Many institutions, we have lots of Chinese, Indian students. Why students ask certain questions? Very different from American students. That's because of their education background. And then, for example, job seeking for international students. Why are students so anxious? That's because there are restrictions. So, what are the restrictions? And then like correlation between English proficiency and the course selection or global perspectives on academic advising. I hosted a webinar, invited an advisor from a very good university in China. She shared how Chinese university they advise students. That was eye-opening for my colleagues. And then another thing, inclusive advising framework. How can we make sure our advising sessions are as inclusive as possible? Yeah, those are just some of the topics.
That's wonderful. I was particularly interested in this question of the pillar about the academic interventions. My experience with the St. Louis universities is that I think it's hard for them to know when a student might be struggling, and in terms of whether they're not on track, whether they are losing their confidence. I think that's a really important area that I think is a nuance. It's somewhat harder for the universities to know when the student might be struggling. So how did you address that with your academic interventions pillar?
Absolutely. First of all, I have some established tools or activities already, so all the students can come. I'll mention that first. Like established tools, I have academic success compass to guide the student, international students, and success handbook. I have weekly student forum. I have established also international student career immersion trip. Those are established ones. And then for those with nuance, like students who are academic probation or challenging academically, or students who are high achieving students. So what do we do? How we support them? And then for Syracuse University, we have online system so we can track the students' performance frequently and clearly. So whenever we have the students show their struggle, usually I will see the alerts. So I will contact the student. Of course, they have advisor too. So basically, I'll contact the student. I copy an advisor so advisor know I'm working with the student. And usually I invite them to my office for a talk to see what's the issue, how can we help them. And then, of course, also I can meet students, sometimes even parents, with the students' permission. We work with them case by case. For high achieving ones, and then we try to find extra resources for them. For example, this semester we have a faculty mentor program. Actually, for high achieving students, we have some outstanding faculty. They volunteer their time to guide those high achieving students. So that's overall, what does that mean, academic interventions?
That's very helpful. And I know so many of the students are high achieving that I'm sure it's a very unusual feeling for some of them to need some support because they've always been such high achievers in their home countries. Tell us about that last pillar, the communication strategies.
Yes. And then communication is really important because I think that productive communication not only help your students and their family informed, also it's a good way for you to build trust with your students. And then we do regular updates and connections with their families. So it's a sense of inclusion and community. And then a few ways we do that. So first of all, I have a weekly international student newsletter every Monday. I know students don't want to read emails, so therefore I make as succinct as possible bulletin points. I organize them in the chronicle order. So by the dates, important deadlines, important academic events, scholarship application, all those things. So I have a title for that newsletter, basically 5 minutes of reading may change your academic life. And every week also, as I mentioned earlier, I have International Student Forum. It's in person. We can talk about things they will not learn anywhere else. And the communication through social media is too important because students nowadays they do not read emails all the time. So therefore, we also have WeChat group. WeChat group is for Chinese students only. And then also we have Instagram, Facebook, those things. But our WhatsApp and WeChat group are the most active. For parents, it's so important. I know when I tell people that I talk to parents, some people cannot believe it. I say, yes, for the students nowadays, parents are your great partner. So I keep parents informed of what's going on even before the students come to campus. Like this summer, when I meet with new students, I talk to parents too, so they feel more comfortable about what's going on. I speak Chinese with the Chinese parents. The parents I speak English, and I keep parents in the loop. And also parents, they can be very helpful. For example, sometimes I ask the students to do something, they just ignore me. But if I mention that at the parents' meeting or newsletter, I say, could you please help remind your students? Yes, the parents will help me, and then their students will come to me say, I heard my mom, dad say blah, blah, blah. Because I know we want our students to be independent, but nowadays, this generation, you do need to get parents on board.
I was also wonder that you talked about your Wednesday forum. One of the things we talked about in a different podcast was the fact that for the international students to understand their rights, what they can and can't do, they can come together and talk in person. That is a good way for them to ask the right questions and get advice with things they may not want to put in writing. So I don't know if you're seeing that with the students that come and talk to you at your Wednesday forums, but it would seem that right now, particularly, they would be interested in that in-person opportunity.
Oh, yes, definitely. And another thing is that also I have an open door policy. So I tell students when the new students come to campus, I show them where my office is. I say, you don't have to make an appointment with me. Of course, if you want guarantee I'll be in my office, you should. But as long as you see my door open, feel free to stop by, say hi, ask any quick questions. I think that case makes students feel comfortable. They feel there's somebody there, always hear about them, always want to listen to them. I think that's important.
Yes, I think caring is very important. I'm thinking that Dania might have some thoughts now that she's heard about all five of these pillars in terms of how do you view this array of assistance and what you've seen and heard from other international students? What do you think when you consider this range of support that Syracuse is providing for these two parts of their undergraduate school?
It's a little tricky question for me, because I that's why I asked her this question of, is this kind of support available for grad students or for undergrad students? Because most of my exposure to the community here is with all the grad students, especially masters and PhD students. So I'm aware of different initiatives that are being provided to undergrad students, but I haven't talked with any undergrad student how they're feeling about all those things that are provided to them on campus. But if I can just talk about from graduate perspective, we have certain kind of meet and greet sessions. There is a Christian based organization here that conducts those kind of sessions each month, and I used to go to those sessions and those dinners each month, like first Friday of each month. And the sense of belonging and influence you can get from those kind of sittings and meeting with different people from different culture has its own power, and it is really, really impactful, especially for those who are new to this culture of United States.
When we think about the fact that you've won this award, Dr. LeBeau, for the program, you've been able to share it in writing and speaking. What insights or lessons do you have for them? What should you try? What would be the first or second, or should you do all five? What do you hear from other institutions when they're trying to learn from this model that has been recognized?
Sure. Yes, actually, since the work was publicized, I have received lots of inquiries from colleagues, not just in the US, also from other countries. Sounds like it's very daunting what we do here. It's a lot. And actually, I'm the only person. So, but unfortunately, I'm within a department. I have supports from other colleagues. But all those things, basically, I'm by myself. And they are doable, definitely. So the model is applicable to different types of institutions. Type of institution just need to make some revisions of the scalability of each pillar. For example, let's say we have a small liberal arts college. They don't have that many international students anyway, but they do want to support them. And also in a small liberal arts college, advisors, faculty only, they don't have professional advisors. So certain institution can organize some regular training for the faculty advisor to understand their students' body. Who are they? Where are they from? Why they ask those questions, what they want to achieve. The training, maybe not that frequent, but a couple a year. Also, peer mentor program. Peer mentor program is a student leadership program. It's a good program to benefit both parties, new international students and upper class students, because it's leadership to help everybody grow. And for the Blackboard programs, those things definitely takes time. But once you establish, then you just need to make revisions every year. So I think those are things that really, if a university say, no, we don't have resources, but definitely can even start from a small scale, can start from that. Or you don't have to do all those 5 pillars, just focus on a few important ones.
It's clear that you're a dynamo, but it does show that you don't need to put a lot of money in investment if you have the right mentality and someone like you who is passionate about surrounding the students with the best that they can do. My last question has to do with this coming summer. We know that with the current administration, many of the universities and the international students are considering that they might have the international students stay in the United States or on campus this summer and not travel out of the United States. How do you envision potentially extending any of your support over the summer, or other ways that you could be helpful or encourage other institutions to think about some extra layer of support this summer when some of the international students are going to be in a different position?
Sure, yes. So it's sad what's going on right now. But fortunately, I think according to the media report, seems like it's getting a little bit better every day. So international students need our support more than ever. I think that if there are more international students that remain on your campus this summer, and for example, our campus as well, I hope it's already on my to-do list. I may do a quick checking mid-May or late May like that to see how many stay on campus. If that's the case, I suggest universities really proactively provide some experiential learning opportunity for students, because the summer is so long, about 3 months. For example, organizing some volunteering, local volunteering opportunity, maybe local career immersion, maybe on campus jobs, on campus internships, get students involved. And then there are so many free online courses, like very trendy one, AI literacy, those things through LinkedIn, through Coursera, guide your students. So don't let them just wander around. Keep in touch with them. Tell them those are opportunities, XYZ here. Or you can organize something. Let's say we're going to do a couple trips, a local trip. Anybody wants to join us? And here are those free online courses. I highly recommend you take those courses, earn some micro credentials for your resume, for your profile.
They're great ideas. I'm going to turn it over to Dania to ask one of the audience questions.
Okay, so we have received a very interesting question from dearest member of ours, and the question is that how do universities work with students from the beginning of their degree seeking journey to develop a career readiness mindset and make the most of their time during matriculation in the US to know the job culture and values and be able to demonstrate this in the job market?
Yes, this is so important. This question is excellent. I've been with Syracuse for over 5 years. I would say in the 5 years, we have improved quite a bit. So now here's what we do. So for international students, I mentioned earlier onboarding, right? In summer, even before they come to Syracuse. So I show them, we use it called Handshake. It's a platform for students to find job, internship, those things. We definitely make sure they know how to use Handshake. We ask them to complete their profile in Handshake, show them how to apply for campus job before they come here. That's why some students on campus, they start to work the second week. They have a job. And then in the summer, Blackboard program, non-credit course, I have a few assignments there, including creating your resume, creating your LinkedIn profile, completing your Handshake profile, like that. And then they know those elements before they come to campus. And then once they come to campus, because our advisor, they serve as both academic and a career. So the first year, their advisor will tell them, okay, during your first year, you need to have those documents ready. Okay, resume, profile, everything. And then we have alumni connection program. We encourage our students to be connected alumni from year one. We have many career immersion trips. Like per semester, we have 3 or 4. Some are local, some we take students to New York City, or DC. For international specifically, in addition to all the others, they have extra one. They can go to one with me. So I take them out only for international students. We encourage them to have internship, anything in the summer after first year. Every time we meet with students, we mention them, how is your internship application? How is the job? What's your plan? And the path, we gradually educate students and also coach to have a plan after graduation.
Thank you, Dr. LeBeau. This has been fascinating. We are so appreciative of your wisdom and your knowledge that you have shared. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Claude, we're going to turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Thank you, Dr. LeBeau and Dania. Such a great chime-in with your questions and your experience. And Dr. LeBeau, actually, I have one follow-up questions too, because I'm just so curious. I watched you share lots of resources, and I know that you're part of the international student admission, you provide some talk to the students that interested in coming here to the US and study at Syracuse. I'm just curious, how US institutions are addressing the concerns of incoming international student this year regarding the uncertainty around F1 status. Did you get any kind of questions from them or their parents?
Actually, no. Maybe because I'm not within the international service, and then because my role is focused on academic and career. Yeah, and then I did actually go to China a month ago to talk to the newly admitted students and family. Seems I think parents they feel comfortable sending their students to the U.S. And then I feel the concern. I honestly I haven't experienced much concern yet.
That's great news then. And I hope that the situation will get better, right? This is the wave that we are experiencing.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. LeBeau. I always enjoy listening about your international student success model. And just a quick summary, that I think we all get some great ideas on how institutions can follow this success model and implement on campus. From Dania responded to this model, you can see that international students are hungry of knowledge and advice as long as advisors are equipped with resources and knowledge to help them overcome barriers in the US and adjust to the new culture and career quicker. That would be a fantastic approach. For international students, I think what we hear from Dr. LeBeau is that, for example, at Syracuse, she has an open door policy. Maybe your universities have that advisor always there for international students. So don't hesitate to reach out and make sure that you utilize university resources to the max even before you arrive on campus. So I think that would be my key takeaways. Dr. LeBeau, anything that I'm missing here?
No, this is great. And I just want to appreciate your team hosting this because, again, as we said, the international students need our support more than ever. International students is forever asset to the United States. I think we all know that, and I hope more and more people will realize that. And so, yeah, I hope that the situation will get better very soon.
Yes, I hope so too. Thank you again. Thank you for being here, for sharing your insights. And now this is also an important segment of the show. I would like to turn the stage to Dania because she will have another great exercise to help us stay calm and relaxed under any circumstances, under any waves that come to us. Dania, surprise me. What do you have for us today?
All right, so today we will take a short journey together. It's a journey into the calm, powerful, and healing energy of the color blue. Blue is the color of sky, the ocean, and the deep stillness. This color invites us to slow down, breathe deeply, and connect with inner peace. And maybe some of you can relate that in many cultures, blue color is associated with calmness and peace, like the vast sky or a quiet ocean. It is also being associated with clarity and wisdom, like clear thinking and insight. Blue color is also linked with strength and stability, like mountains under a blue sky. And it is also a color of healing and renewal. And it is often linked to emotional balance. So let us sit mindfully with our spine straight and body relaxed. Close your eyes and hold your hands over your heart if you wish. Take a deep breath in and picture a blue ball of light pulsing inside your forehead. Imagine it is calming your thoughts. Breathe out and picture the blue ball of light dropping into your throat. Imagine it is clearing out all the unkind thoughts and words inside of us. Breathe in and see the blue light glowing brighter and brighter within you. Breathe out and picture it dropping into your heart. Imagine that this blue ball is soothing your hurt feelings. Breathe in again and picture or imagine the blue ball filling your whole body. Breathe out and feel it down to your toes. Sit with the blue light for a moment and let it glow inside you. Whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes. This blue color has to draw deep inner calm and focus during challenging time. It projects confidence without aggression. It awakens our intuitive intelligence and authentic voices within us. And it is a great source of grounding ourselves in stability, like a steady ocean wave.
It's so nice. I love the blue light. I can definitely see it. Just imagine that blue light, it relaxes us. So thank you so much, Daniel, for leading this session. And now, our listeners, we would love to hear from you because we are moving towards the end of this podcast series. We would love to hear your thoughts on this initiative that me, myself, Bessie, and Dania have created, Hope and Optimism podcast. Has it supported you in your work as an advisor? Has it been helpful to you as an international student? So if you have enjoyed this podcast, please share your feedback by leaving us a rating on Spotify or any favorite podcast channels that you're using. Your input will help us plan and create more meaningful resources to support our international students and university communities during these uncertain times. And in the next episode, which will be the final episode of this podcast series, we are excited to welcome Dr. Lanita M. Berger, an award-winning scholar, educator, and social justice advocate dedicated to making higher education more accessible to underrepresented students. Dr. Berger's work on social justice in international education is especially relevant as F1 students face new challenges related to visa policies, racial injustice, and uncertainty. So be sure to subscribe at ICAway.com/subscribe and follow the conversation with #ICAway coaching. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Bessie and Dania, for being such amazing co-hosts as always. Thank you, Dr. LeBeau, for being here with us on this show. Take care, everyone, and stay hopeful.